Hyperbolic discounting has consequences which occur at a later time. Good or bad, they tend to have a lot less bearing on our choices the more distantly they fall in the future. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we may die. It's an appealing philosophy to some, but for an average person in the modern world, on any given day there are roughly 26,000 times more likely to be wrong than right about tomorrow's survivability. More often than not, one must answer for all reckless consumption and merriment, yet most of us continue to make choices which are detrimental to our futures. As an overweight person, I have fought the consequences of hyperbolic discounting all of my life. Do I allow myself the luxury today to only pay for it later? When I make those decisions in a hot state, the answer is why not? But when I'm in a rational cold state and thinking about future consequences, the answer is no. I need to stick with my diet, or this will constantly happen, and I won't lose the weight I want to. As I have become older, it's not only about how much weight I want to lose, but how my health will be affected if I don't live a healthy lifestyle. Almost everyone occasionally falls victim to this defect of human reasoning. For instance, the eating, drinking, merriment philosophy may sound like that of a warrior before battle, but hundreds of thousands of overweight patients embrace that strategy daily, and against the better advice of their doctors. Every year in the U.S., only about 10% make the necessary lifestyle changes to prevent future damage to their health. About 90% of those patients decide to forego survival and comfort in favor of the short-term pleasures of unhealthy foods and laziness. I seem to remember my father telling me some years ago, "This isn't a dress rehearsal, sweetie, so you better make the most of it while it counts." So for me, while I sit here eating fattening chips with my sun-kissed, I am 100% certain that my id beats the ego without fail nearly every single time. And really, I'm okay with this. Different strokes for different folks. Carpe diem and all that jazz. You never really know when your number is up, so why deny yourself the things that make life good? But the amount I discount the future is largely going to be based on my own values, which are not universally shared, nor objectively evaluated. I love food. I am from the South and was taught to cook at an early age, and I'm good at it. I may choose to continue eating because of the psychological pleasure it brings me outweighs the possibility that to keep eating will likely end my life earlier. On the other hand, my health and my age have started to make me realize that I have to start taking control of my health. Even though I still enjoy cooking and eating, I have limited it to holidays and family get-togethers. I have started to watch what I eat and allow myself luxuries, but I balance that out with exercising and eating healthy most of the time. I've lost 30 pounds this year, and I'm hoping that my almost healthy lifestyle will make some difference. But if it doesn't, I will still die happy because I did what I wanted to. Being obese and a food addict and surrendering to temptation are one thing. There is, however, definitely a line between eating too much. You cross from a physical want in the food department to a psychological need for more. Hard work pays off over time, but laziness pays off right now. In essence, hyperbolic discounting is the human tendency to prefer smaller payoffs now over larger payoffs later, which leads one to largely disregard the future when it requires sacrifices in the present. Being mortal creatures with limited lifespans and resources, the human survival instinct has evolved to appreciate that one cannot enjoy conserved resource tomorrow if one doesn't survive today. This hardwired tendency may be the bias behind our temporal short-sightedness, causing many people to make decisions which lead to short-term happiness and long-term disaster. Financial institutions such as banks and credit card companies build their businesses on hyperbolic discounting because borrowing money and paying interest are actions which spend future resources for benefit in the present. In a society where credit is available for almost anyone, hyperbolic discounting has created an environment where it's rare for people to save up for expensive items, even when interest rates are so high that the amount paid is much greater. As a college student the first time around, I was young and I wanted to have fun. I opened a lot of credit cards to get me through school. I bought clothes and shoes. I went out to eat with friends. When I graduated, I got a job. It was all I could do every month to make all my credit card payments. I ended up paying 3 times what those things cost me due to hyperbolic discounting of immediate gratification versus the interest rates of tomorrow. Because of this lesson, I learned to count every penny and was able to save enough money to be able to quit my job and come back to school. I may be living like a college student now, but it'll be worth it when I finish my degree and don't owe for all those credit card rates. The under-evaluation of the future is not rational, yet almost everyone is subject to it, to some degree. Fortunately, understanding the psychology of hyperbolic discounting can help one to avoid its detrimental effects. Because one's self-centered biases are at the heart of the problem, the best approach is to take an objective view of any decision that has future consequences. Some suggest that when you are confronted with such a choice, you should imagine that the decision belongs to someone else, perhaps a close friend or family member, and that you have been asked for advice. Removing oneself from consideration makes one less blind to future consequences, but taking rational actions based on that new insight can still be harder. Being aware of the consequences doesn't mean that they are assigned the appropriate importance. Seeking a truly objective view from a trusted individual often provides the most practical input. In our world, it's all about instant gratification, and many times without regard for the future. This is what leads people to do drugs, to procrastinate, to party, to play games, to the extent that they'll interfere with their lives. It seems that we're just here to have a blast, because you never know when the day comes that you'll drop dead. There is a big difference between surviving and existing. Just because someone makes a decision that is not the best one physically does not mean that their decision was not the best one overall for that person. Some people feel like it doesn't matter how you live, even if you live a healthy life and make good decisions. You can't change that you exercise, eat well, and die anyway. Like Jimmy Buffett said, I would rather die living than live while I'm dead. Maybe we could all learn a lesson from him.